Plata, Barata. Army of Darkness, released in 1992 and is directed by Sam Raimi, who has also directed such films like The Evil Dead, The Evil Dead 2, Darkman, Spiderman 2, and Spiderman 3. And this film is starring Bruce Campbell. He's the only actor I'm going to mention here because this is The Bruce Campbell Show. This is all Bruce Campbell. The script was written for Bruce Campbell. The one-liners in this character is here just to serve the amazingness that is Bruce Campbell. At the end of Evil Dead 2, Ash gets sucked into a wormhole back to medieval times. And there he is captured by a kingdom and seen as a strange warlock that must be put to death. However, overcoming some evil demons in the area, the king decides to join forces with Ash because they think that he is the only one who can retrieve the Necronomicon, the Book of the Dead that was written in blood that has a whole bunch of spells that can release evil on Earth and that can send Ash back to his original time. And technically, this is the final chapter of a film trilogy. A very loose film trilogy. The original Evil Dead, that's really just an indie picture, Sam Raimi with his own camcorder, filming Bruce Campbell and a bunch of other friends in a cabin in Michigan, but introducing us, the audience, to his take on this evil that roams the planet. And his interpretation of this evil is a very crazy POV shot of the camera moving very fast through the woods and cutting through trees and sweeping its way up and down the leaves in the hills. And in that one, basically everyone dies but Bruce Campbell. And then Evil Dead 2 arrives, and it's basically the same movie, just with more budget and more visual effects, but even cheesier acting. And then we move here, and actually this was my very first blood with Bruce Campbell and this whole Evil Dead universe. My brother showed this to me when I was, I want to say like a freshman in high school, and it is one of the funniest and most joyous times I've ever had watching a movie. The acting here is such shit. The story is such shit, but it's so good. In other words, this movie in anyone else's hands would have been terrible. But because you got Bruce Campbell, who is so campy just in his acting style, he makes these lines work. And he's such a weird enigma because he has that leading man look. He has that leading man jaw. When he's on screen, you go, he is a leading man. But there's something so comedic about him. And when he reads these lines, it's hilarious. Well, aren't you Mr. Fancy Pants? Let me tell you something, pal. You're leading two things right now, Jack and shit. And Jack just left town. The name's Ash. Housewares. This movie feels old, but it'll never be old for me. I'm not the biggest Sam Raimi fan. I think he's fine in a lot of what he does. I remember reviewing Darkman very early on this channel, and it was the very first time watching it. This would have been 2017. I hated that movie. Which is sad because the type of humor and the story is actually very reminiscent of Army of Darkness, and it's kind of done in the same style here. But for whatever reason, Frances McDormand, Liam Neeson, in that, they just don't have the comedic sensibility that Bruce Campbell has. So I hated that movie, and I've gotten a lot of flack over the years for that. I've read the comments on that video at some points. Yeah, my god, I'm glad I don't post my address anywhere. But the stylings of that movie is very similar to what we get here. We get a lot of stop motion, we get a lot of CGI that's practical, yet very early on in its CGI stages. And Sam Raimi, he makes it work, and again, it's all because of Bruce Campbell. And personally, I enjoy the departure from the Evil Dead stylings that we got with Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, just going out to this cabin in the woods. Actually, the Evil Dead 2, they went out to the same cabin that they were at in the first one, as if, like, oh, nothing bad's gonna happen this time, and of course, like in the first 5 minutes, bad starts happening. The evil gets into Ash's hand, and he has to chainsaw it off, but he constructs something, a harness, to where he can have the chainsaw now as his hand, and kill people. God, I love this movie so much. Alright, all you slugheads, listen up. You see this? This is my boomstick! It's the type of movie that just makes you want to stand up and give a standing ovation to every line that Bruce Campbell says. It is wonderful. Such a great character, and such a nostalgic character that When was it? It was 2015-ish sometime, where they brought the character and the series back to a television serial, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. That's how much of a cult following Bruce Campbell has in this role. It's amazing. And then if you want some classic medieval storming the castle type action, we get that here. We're not doing the suspense, we're not doing the evil exorcisms or anything like that. This is a full-on action adventure, and we get a huge battle at the end of it. And actually, we get proof that Peter Jackson ripped off a couple of the lines of dialogue from Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring from this movie. I'll lend my bow to you. I'll give you my axe. All from this movie. And I know that Sam Raimi is a huge fan of the Three Stooges. He steals a lot from their routines and their comedic sensibilities and put it all right here in this movie for Bruce Campbell, again, to act out. You can hear it in the sound effects. You can see them actually doing the eye-poking gag that Three Stooges does all the time. This guy, he loves his Three Stooges, and it shows. And I think kudos needs to go here to the practical effects and the puppetry. When the army of the dead is storming the castle and these skeletons are moving along, it actually looks pretty damn good. My willing suspension of disbelief is going along for the ride. I love this movie. It is a joy of the time. Any outsider nowadays who watches this for the first time, I completely understand you turning this off after 10 minutes going, what the fuck is this? I completely understand it, but for someone who grew up with this thing and gets where the comedy is coming from and just loves the comedic sensibilities of Bruce Campbell, this movie is for me. I love this movie. It's nothing grandiose or grandeur, I know, I get that, but it's still a really fun time. I'm gonna give Army of Darkness 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
Alright guys, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next, and I'm going to be selecting one that was recommended to me from one of my subscribers, probably my biggest subscriber and supporter on this channel out of all of my subscribers and supporters, and that's my wife, Tammy Slater-Knutson. She has been begging for me to watch this movie that was one of her favorites growing up. It's a movie called Can't Hardly Wait. A bunch of people, like in their early 30s, pretending to be in high school, I think. I don't know, I've never seen this thing. I know that Seth Green is in it because that's the character that she can't stop talking about, and I'm finally gonna cave. I'm gonna watch it. So we'll check that one out next time. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, you can leave a recommendation below this video, or go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter, leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout on the channel. And if you want me to do your recommendation as quickly as I possibly can and bypass the whole random generator that I have here, you can make a PayPal donation on the main page of my YouTube channel. Any size donation will do, just attach your movie with the donation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it and publish my review of it as quickly as I possibly can. So guys, have you seen Army of Darkness? What did you think about it? Do you think it's as funny as I think it is, or was it just completely a miss for you? Whatever you thought, comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you on the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Can't Hardly Wait. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.